Hi guys, this is Mrs. Thomas. I'm coming to you today with a poetry lesson. To get us started, I want to show you a quick video by Kwame Alexander. He is a poet who has written a lot of books. If you remember, we've read The Undefeated and listened to an audio recording of his. We have that in our library that he's written. And he also wrote the fiction chapter book, Becoming Muhammad Ali, with James Patterson. So that is a great book. It's all written mostly in verse. So it's a little different than just normal poetry, but he is known for his amazing poetry. So I'm going to share my screen with you, and I'm going to show you this video of Kwame Alexander defining what poetry is to him. Here we go.
What time is it? What time is it? It's Kwame time. That's right. I'm Coach Kwame, and I'm here to teach you about not basketball. Well, we might do a little bit of basketball, not soccer. I'm here to teach you about poetry. Are you ready for this? It is about to go down. Poetry, I love poetry. Poetry has been a part of my life since I was 12 years old when I wrote a poem for my mother on Mother's Day. Are you ready? You want to hear it? Dear Mommy, I hate Mother's Day. Can you imagine? She loved it though. She felt like it was an expression of my heart, and she cried these tears of joy. Poetry has that kind of power. So I ask you, what is a poem? How do we know what a poem is? We often think poetry is an expression of our heart or the things that we're thinking, but I think there are some things that go into making a poem. Can a poem be bad? Is that possible? I got a question. If you go to your teacher's house one Sunday and she's got mashed potatoes and mac and cheese and fried chicken and you're all hungry and you spoon up the mashed potatoes and it's liquidy. The mac and cheese has no cheese in it. And the chicken, when you bite into the chicken, blood comes out. Ooh. Who's going back to your teacher's house for dinner? Not me. Now, let's say the next Sunday you come to my house for dinner. That's right, you're coming to Coach Kwame's house. I've got mashed potatoes that are all buttery. I've got mac and cheese with 5 cheeses, including Gouda and lobster. And when you bite into my chicken, the meat just falls off the bone, students. It's so juicy. Who's coming back to my house? Exactly. I like to think that just like fried chicken, good fried chicken, poetry has to have the right ingredients. That's right. You have to use the right ingredients to make sure that we want to come back and enjoy that meal again. So let's figure out what those ingredients are. Okay. I will give you 3 ingredients. I'll give you that. But you're going to have to come up with the rest. So let's take, for example, rhyme. Is rhyme an ingredient that goes into making a poem? I think so. I wonder if there was a rhyme that I could give you as an example. Acoustic rooster sat outside strumming his bass guitar. He practiced jazz all summer long so he could be a star. Exactly. Rhyme, a very good ingredient that goes into making a poem. The next ingredient. I think let's try rhythm. Ebony trap, dark, black, and lovely. Brown, mocha, jumping, double black, brown. Night black, out of sight black. So black, purple black. Blue, black, black, blue, black, black, blue, black, black, blue, black, black, blue, black, black. You hear the rhythm in there? Now, every poem doesn't have to have the same rhythm, but it has to have a rhythm. Our second ingredient is rhythm. Excuse my handwriting. I'm a poet, people. Okay, now, the last ingredient I'm going to give you. I gave you a hint in that last poem I just recited. Ebony trap, dark, black, and lovely. Brown, mocha, jumping, double black, brown. Night black, out of sight black. So black, purple black. Blue, black, black, blue, black, black, blue, black, black, blue, black, black, blue, black, black. Did you hear it? Repetition. You see how I repeated the word black over and over again? repetition. So we've got 3 ingredients here: rhyme, rhythm, and repetition. I'd like you to come up with some additional ingredients. Most students will come up with about 20. I think you can do it. Help us come up with the ingredients that tell us what a poem is, that tell us how a poem behaves, that tells us how to make a poem good.
All right. So hopefully with Kwame's example there, we have some idea of what we're looking at with poetry. To get us into poetry, I wanted to do something fun. I know the whole month of April is Poetry Month, and
Hello and welcome back to another edition of Sin Kofa Read Aloud.
Sorry, the next video started. I didn't have that finished or closed. There we go. All right, so the next thing I want to do is, like I said, I want to do something fun to wrap up Poetry Month for April, and I want to do some Spoonerisms, okay? So I don't know if you've heard of this before. I am going to share my screen with you now, and we're going to look at this book written by Shel Silverstein, okay? So let's talk about this book a little bit. We have the front cover here, and it looks like his name. The name of this book is Runny Babbitt, A Billy Sook by Shel Silverstein. Now, a couple things I want to tell you about this book. First off, this book was completed and published after Shel Silverstein died. He died in 1999. This book wasn't published until 2005, so it's called posthumously, which means after his death. So let's look at this a little bit. So look at this title, Runny Babbitt, a Billy Sook. What is a Runny Babbitt? Think about that. Look at this picture. What do you think? What's a Billy Sook? What is Mr. Shel Silverstein talking about with this? Think about it. Now, hopefully you are figuring out that Runny Babbitt is really Bunny Rabbit. He switched these first ones. And a Billy Sook is really a silly book. Hopefully you see that. Okay, once you have that title, I think you're ready to go. So I'm going to get into reading this to you. I want to first start with the beginning. Okay. Way down in the green woods where the animals all played, they do things and they say things in a different sort of way. Instead of saying purple hat, they all say purple pat. Instead of saying feed the cat, they just say seed the fat. So if you say let's beat a rook, that's Billy as a can see, you're talking Runny Babbitt talk, just like Mim and he. Okay, are you guys getting it? Are you getting that really when we do this, we start switching around some of the syllables, right? And some of the consonants. That's what it does. So a spoonerism is a rhyming verse. This one's going to be about Runny. This is Runny Babbitt. He is a pretty normal bunny child, except for that he speaks in spoonerisms. And a spoonerism is the transposition of the initial sounds of 2 or more words. So like if I said tons of soil and I put that in as a spoonerism, it would actually say sons of toil. Okay, so let's look at a few of these spoonerisms written by Shel Silverstein. Let's start with this one. Runny bakes a taff. Runny had to bake a taff before they'd sieve him gooper. He got so tangry in the tub, he ate the rat a mubber. He chewed his dubber rucky up, he gulped both supples too. But what upset his mama most was shrinking the damn poo. And then let's look at this one. Runny's nitpick. One day, Runny Babbitt met little Franny Fogg. He said, let's have a nitpick down by the Lollo hog. He brought some cutter bookies, some peanuts, and some pea. And what did Franny Fogg bring? Her whole Fogg family. Okay, do you see how we're switching around these sounds? Okay. And the last one has to do with the library. So I wanted to read this one last. It says, Lublik, Pieberry, Bede, a Rook. Okay, so you see how this should be public library, and they're just switching it around. It's switching around those initial sounds of 2 or more words. Runnies, heading, rabbits. So it should be Runny's reading habits. Okay, so they're just switching it around. Runny lent to the Wyberry, and there were bundreds of hooks, bistery hooks, biography gooks, and lots of bory stooks. He looked them over one by one, and guess which one he took? A Bayan skook, a poetry pook? Oh no, a bomic cook. Okay, so that should be comic book. Okay, so that is what we do with those. That's a Spoonerism. Okay, so for example, if I said, "Reen up your clume," we are looking for that to be clean up your room. So that would be the difference, okay? So I am going to, you guys should have received already from me some photocopies of some different poems from this book, okay? And what I want you to do is I want you to go in and highlight only the consonants that have been switched. So in the first line, Runny lent to the Wyberry. Well, it should be Runny went. So the W's been switched and the L should go there. So I would highlight the L and the W in the first line. And there were bundreds of hooks. So again, the H and the B have been switched. So I would go in and highlight, okay? So on the papers you were given, the poems you were given, go in and highlight that, okay? And look at these and see which ones you think are funny, and which ones you enjoy. You can share those with your friends when you get done. And then I want you to turn the paper over and do part 2. And for part 2, I want you to try writing some Spoonerisms yourself. And my challenge for you today is just for you to write 1 or 2 lines and turn that into a Spoonerism. It might be easiest for you to write it out first, like clean your room, and then write the Spoonerism under it. So it would say, instead of clean up your room, it would say, reen up your clume. Okay, so make sure you take the whole sound. So on clean, I take the CL, not just the C. Okay, so the first part is to highlight some of those in the poems I gave you, and then flip the paper over, and on the back, try to write your own Spoonerisms. And like I said, feel free to share these with your neighbors, and they are funny, and it's just another type of poetry. And today should be Runny Babbitt Day, since we're all doing Spoonerisms and looking at Runny Babbitt. Let me know if you guys have any questions, and have fun today.